In the evening of a more humid day than usual, dark clouds are gathering as soon as the smell of the air changes. By the time you realize it, large drops of rain have already begun to wet the ground. Thunder rumbles. The wind blows. By the time you decide to run, it's already raining hard, and the first lightning bolts illuminate the dusky skies. Sudden thunderstorms and wind gusts. Who hasn't experienced them? Scary and fascinating since the beginning of time. Modern meteorology by now has figured out its origins. Air pressure, humidity, discharge of atmospheric electricity, and sound waves. Still now, a thunderstorm can be scary, despite all scientific knowledge. But hundreds of years ago, people did not even know about electricity, and what we call now science was often just based on ancient beliefs. Why does lightning happen? Where was the wind blow from? Japanese people of old, like in many cultures around the globe, interpreted such mysteries as the doings of supernatural beings. And in ancient Japan, we gave names to those beings: Fujin and Raijin. Fujin is the wind god who releases wind out of a bag, bringing violent gusts of air and treacherous rain, while Raijin is the mighty god of thunder, beating drums, shaking the air with thunderous noise and bright lightning bolts. In the old times, people gave those beings rather simple names. Fu means wind, Rai means thunder, and Jin means god. Fujin, Raijin, wind god, thunder god. You get it. Kami, the ancient Japanese gods, are personification of natural phenomena, a way for the ordinary folks and pretty much everybody else to explain nature. We have kami everywhere, not only enshrined in shrines. The sun, the moon, the wind, the rain, the sea, large trees, rocks, animals, plants, humans, and anything extraordinary. They all are kami. Everything wow that a human experience is called a kami. Since Edo period, Fujin and Raijin are often recognized as a matching pair, and that's how we often see them painted or tattooed together. Nonetheless, they are of distinctively separate origins, and each has their own story and appearance. Fujin, the god of wind, means the god who controls the wind. Wind gods have existed in many parts of the world since ancient times, so there may be one in your culture. In the old Japanese history books, Fujin is already mentioned as the child of the first gods. Later, in the Taiheki, a Japanese classic book of the 1370s, a blue demon god appeared and brought a great wind from a bag. So we know today that the wind gods has already established in its current appearance during the Muromachi period. Did I say blue? Isn't it green? If you are wondering my possibly weird sense of colors, please watch my video on dragons. There you have the answer to the riddle about how Japanese distinguish between blue and green, or not. What is interesting here is that the wind god is said to be a god, while at the same time being a blue oni, demon. This is called onigami, which means he's both a god and an oni. It's a bit confusing, but don't think too much about it. We are complicated people, and so are our gods. And as I said earlier, a kami usually is a personification of a natural phenomenon. When the gods are serious about their mission, their expression can be as frightening as an oni. Wielding such a large sack to send the wind is not done lightly and with a smile, but rather with force, in a heroic and terrifying manner, powered by God's powers. Incidentally, we also have an evil wind god who blows yellow breath and brings bad luck. This also originated from the medieval belief Bad air can cause harm to crops and fisheries, and when they enter a person's body, they cause illness. People from antique times through the Middle Ages often had these notions. Also in Europe, where this bad breath of the earth was called miasma since ancient Greece, bringing along misfortune and death. In the Edo period, it was believed that wind god was flying from place to place, entering through the gaps between objects, between warmth and cold, and if it saw a person, it would blow yellow breath from its mouth, causing illness in those exposed to its breath. Even if people did not know about bacteria and viruses, they certainly sensed something bad in the air sometimes, and seeked for an explanation from the spiritual world. But now, how did Raijin, the god of thunder, came to be in Japan? This is a slightly different story. There is an ancient myth of a god called Izanagi and his wife Izanami, who unfortunately died during giving birth to their child. The desperate Izanagi followed her to the land of the dead to release her. Unsurprisingly, this mission failed terribly. I will spare you the details, but they involve terror and decay, and the poor woman probably is still there in the depth of afterlife. Her husband did escape, but the furious god sent Raijin, born from hell, after Izanagi to bring him back. Hence, the god of thunder is now roaming the earth. In Japan, we are saying that Raijin has the somewhat weird habit of stealing our belly button whenever lightning strikes. I'm not sure what is his motivation behind this, but I am absolutely 100% that I'm not the only Japanese who's still consciously holding my belly button whenever a storm brings thunder and lightning. The god of thunder is usually depicted with a fierce and aggressive expression, standing on a cloud and carrying on his back a denden daiko, a traditional drum, or often many of them, with the symbol of tomoe on it. Each strike of the drum being a thunderclap shaking the earth. Although belief in wind and thunder gods has existed in Japan since ancient times, the primary origin of the motif of a pair of wind and thunder gods is found in Buddhism art of Chinese origin. Again, we are mixing Buddhist and Shinto beliefs and images here. Like I said, we are complex people. The oldest existing statues of the wind and thunder gods in Japan are the beautiful wooden statues in Sanju Sangendo created in the Kamakura period. Fujin sends great winds to the lower world from the wind back on his back. Raijin beats 8 drums on his back with a bachi to send a thunderous roar to the world below. The wind gods has lips like duck's beak, and the thunder god has the hair that stands up on the end. The muscle of both the wind god and the thunder god are realistic and powerful, and the sculpting was done after careful observation of the human body. The artist did take some freedom doing the digits though. Fujin has 4 fingers and 2 toes, while Raijin has 3 fingers and 2 toes. It is said that Tawara Yasote's famous 17th century painting of Fujin and Raijin was inspired by this sculpture. If you think about those 2 gods, you might be imagining this image or one of its many copies. The gold leaf applied here accentuates the shapes of the object depicted, transforming them into a dense space of infinite depth. It is also characteristic that the wind god and the thunder god each are strangely close to the edge. It is also easy to imagine how the 2 deities flew by the description of the dark clouds on which they are each mounted. I am sure that the cloud that Goku rides on in Dragon Ball was also inspired by this painting. Also, our famous and beloved artist Hokusai drew the wind god and thunder god as a manga. Other, more modern images were then also created. Fujin and Raijin, who were born out of fear and respect for nature, are still a part of people's lives today. If you have been to Japan as a tourist, you have probably encountered them. They guard the gates of Sensoji Temple in Asakusa, one of the most famous tourist destinations. Did you notice them? They are in plain sight, but also somewhat hidden. I believe that conceptual ability to personify natural phenomena resides firmly in modern Japanese people. Superheroes, as god-like figure, embody superpowers that are exaggerated natural forces. You understand now why anime and gaming culture are so strong and ever present in Japan. Fujin and Raijin are superheroes, symbols of the force of nature. Do you think they are winds and thunder gods where you live? What natural phenomena frighten you? Next time a thunderstorm lightens up the summer evening, do not forget to hold your belly button. Thank you very much for watching today. Bye! またね!